So this is probably the most awkward experience that I've ever had. And I'm not trying to judge anyone who goes to these events. I think they're great. What is up, guys? It's Jacob back with another video, and I thought, let's try something new. Every week, I'm going to be doing Saturday story time. And today's story is about an awkward situation that I had. So this story starts 5 years ago. It was 2020. I just arrived in Japan for my first working holiday. I was super excited. I think it was April of 2020. So one of my friends, my drinking buddy, let's call him Ken from now. So Ken sends me a message online and he asks, "Hey Jacob, do you want to go to a party?" And I thought, yeah, I love a party. I love all parties. That would be great because I just moved to Tokyo and I think it would be great to make some new friends. So I tell him, yeah, where is it? So he actually sends me a link and he's like, just fill out this form and then we can go. And I thought, that's a little bit strange. I've never really filled out a form to go to a party, but I thought, oh, it kind of makes sense. Some places want to know how many people are coming and things like that. And I know, especially in Japan, things are a lot more well organized than they are in Canada. Remember, this is 5 years ago, so I was only 21 years old, and my Japanese was not that great at the time. It was okay, definitely enough to have conversations and do those kinds of things, but I was not nearly as good as I am today. So I finished signing up for the party and it looks like it's a all you can drink for 3 hours. It's 5,000 or 6,000 yen. So I thought, that's great. A week later is the day of the party. It's a Friday night, very exciting, and the party is in Ebisu, which Ebisu is a fantastic town. I love Ebisu. There's lots of places to drink, places to eat. There are lots of pretty girls there. There are lots of good-looking guys there as well. So I think it's a pretty good place to have a party. So I show up. I'm wearing pretty nice clothes, nothing crazy, but I thought, let's dress up a little bit. And there's a guy at the door who's doing a kind of sign-in type thing. So he finds my name, checks me off, and he hands me a piece of paper. And it's all in Japanese, which is okay because I can read Japanese, including kanji. And even 5 years ago, my reading skill was not bad. He said, just fill out the sheet at one of the tables. So I walk in and Ken messages me and he says, "Sorry, Jacob, I'm gonna be late." And I thought, wow, that kind of sucks because there's like 100 people I don't know. My Japanese is not very good. And I thought if Ken was there, things would go more smoothly. So I started getting a little bit nervous. But I took my piece of paper, went to the table, got a pen, and started writing. Very, very basic information. So I started writing in katakana, Jacob. And then the next one is my job. So at the time, I was an English teacher like now. And then below that, it asked for the workplace. I work from home, so I guess I'll just put online. And the next one was like, where do you usually hang out? So I thought, okay, let's do Nakameguro, and I can write that kanji. And then I thought I also hang out in Jiyugaoka. Everyone else around me is writing in Japanese, of course, because nobody speaks English. And I realized I can't write the kanji for Jiyugaoka. A lot of this form I can't finish unless I can write the kanji. So I got a little bit nervous, but there was a very, very nice young looking guy beside me. And I thought, great, I'll just ask him. So I was like,
やばい。
すいません。ちょっと漢字が苦手なので、書いてくれませんか? It was really embarrassing because he was like looking at me like, what? And I thought, oh, I'm probably the only non-Japanese person here, which slowly I'm starting to think, why am I the only non-Japanese person here? Because we're in Ebisu. There's quite a few foreign people in Ebisu, so I thought, that's kind of strange. Anyways, he was super nice and he said, もちろんできます. Now we're doing this form together. So I'm kind of embarrassed. And I was like, 自由が丘. And so he started writing all this information for me. Super nice. We get to the part which is like your salary, and I couldn't read that kanji. But at the time, I didn't know my salary in Japanese yen. So he's like, oh, let's just write it in dollars. So I don't remember how much I was making at the time, but we just wrote it in dollars. And I was like, okay. We finished writing this paper together, and I started to realize, this is strange. Why do I have to write my salary? Why do I have to write where I work, what I do? Like, this is not a normal party. And then I realized this is a konkatsu party, which is like for getting married, like meeting people to get married. I was only 21 at the time. So I started looking around and I thought, I'm probably the only foreigner here, and I'm probably the youngest person here. And my friend, Ken, still hasn't arrived. So I was getting really nervous because it's not like the people were old or anything, but as a 21-year-old with mostly people who are 30 to 35, yeah, I felt kind of weird. And I thought, if this is for marriage, I don't want to try to date these people because I'm not ready to get married yet. So I felt bad being there. How the system works is there were 100 people, 50 girls, 50 guys. And I guess there's 10 or 12 big tables with about 8 people each. We just stand at the table with our drinks. Thank God I had a drink, or else I would be even more nervous. So we're standing around this table and it's pretty quiet. Like, the girls are kind of leading the conversation. I realized this is a konkatsu party, so the guys there are super awkward. Because of course they don't have that much experience, or they don't have that much time to go on dates. So they're at this party. And I'm not saying people who go to that party are all awkward, but the people at my table were super awkward. I am not an awkward person. I can talk to anyone. So I kind of led the conversation, like, oh, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. And all the girls' attention is now on me. So all 4 girls are talking to me. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything. It's just how it happened because I was the only one talking smoothly and naturally. So one of the girls asked me, like, how old are you? Because the card doesn't actually say our age. So it has your salary and all this other stuff. Very private information, but it doesn't have your age. So I said, well, how old do you think I am? And they were like, 25? And I was like, ぴったりです. Exactly, you're right. And they're like, yeah, you look 25. So that day, I was just 25, even though I was 21 at the time. So every 15 minutes or something, we change tables. So we go around a bunch of times, and then there's like a free time for an hour after where you can talk to the people that you're interested in. Ken arrives about 30 minutes late. So I'm on table 3, I think. And I'm like, hey man, why didn't you tell me this is like a marriage party, or like this kind of like matchmaking party? And he's like, oh, it's fine, I just forgot to tell you. I thought that's kind of strange because I feel kind of rude being here. These people think they're trying to get married and I'm not. So slowly I started to realize this Ken guy is not my friend. Because when me and Ken were at the same table, he kept speaking to me in English, but other people can't understand. And then it hit me. I think maybe Ken wanted to show off that he has a foreign friend, or that he can speak English fluently. And maybe that's why he brought me. Because he knew I was 21, and I think he was like 31 or 32 at the time. So for him, it makes more sense at that age. But yeah, I thought, wow, that wasn't very nice. 2 hours go by. I talked to everyone. もう大人気だった. I was so popular. Because, again, the other guys are a little bit awkward. And I grew up with an older sister and a lot of older female cousins. So I'm very used to speaking to women who are older than me. I understand what older girls talk about. My sister's friends used to come to my house all the time. And most of my ex-girlfriends are 3, 4, 5 years older than me. So it kind of is natural for me. The table time is over and now it's like the free time. So I start chatting with whoever. And a girl comes over to me and we started chatting. And I asked her, like, are you very serious about finding a partner? Like, how serious is this event? And then she said, no, like, I'm just here because my friend asked me to come. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's exactly why I'm here. And then I told her, by the way, like, I didn't know that it was this kind of event. And I'm only 21, so I'm not really the age to get married. I think she was like 25 or 24 or something, so she also was not ready to get married. She just wanted to support her friend who was going. And we started chatting, and I was like, hey, why don't we just go? Because we're in the same boat, and it's kind of awkward to be talking to these people who have a goal of getting married, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like, why don't me and you just go for a drink somewhere else? So we end up going out, and it wasn't like a date or anything, but we kind of became friends for a little bit, and she was like my drinking buddy for a few months. And yeah, that was kind of the positive of the whole thing. I don't talk with that person Ken anymore because I thought that was not a very nice thing to do, and then I realized he's not really my friend. So we didn't hang out after that party, but I guess I should be more careful. But now I know what a konkatsu party is, and we don't really have things like that in Canada or the US. We do have this thing called speed dating, but it's not very common anymore. Speed dating is very similar. It's like where there's one person across from you and you talk, and then you move on to the next person and you talk. And at the end, if you're a match, then you guys go on a date or something. As far as I know, it's not very common because people here, usually we meet our partner from a friend of a friend, or we can just meet them anywhere because the women in Canada and the US are a lot more forward, a lot more direct. So if they're interested in you, they might ask you to go for a drink. They might ask the guy to go out for a drink. And then also here, it's very natural for us to talk and go for a casual drink without thinking, oh, this is really serious. But I do understand why they have this type of event in Japan, because people are really, really busy and they don't necessarily have time to meet people or find a partner. So I totally understand, and I'm not trying to judge anyone who goes to these events. I think they're great, actually. The one that I went to was very, very well run. The staff were fantastic. The people that were there were really nice. I actually kind of recommend it just to try it, because it was a good time even for someone like me who's not planning on getting married. But yeah, you should check it out. Anyways, guys, that's my story of going to a konkatsu party. Have any of you guys been to a party like this or something similar? I'm really interested if you guys have a story, so please let me know in the comments if you have anything like that. From next week, we'll have more storytime videos like this one. So if you liked this video, please subscribe and come back next week for more Saturday Storytime with Jacob. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys and I appreciate your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you.